Hello, my friends. My name is Maria, and I'm here today to read your book called "In Business for Yourself." Right here. If I remove that paper that I had in there, it's here. "In Business for Yourself" by Bruce Williams, and I will read you chapter 2, "Getting Started." And this chapter will include also some important considerations, and the paragraph calls the two types of business person, and I'm going to read it to you, and sometimes I'll stop and talk about it, maybe laugh if there is something funny about it. I like reading this book lately, and it was nice to do it. I feel good when I do it, and I hope you can join me and ask me some questions. You can ask me something, or you can write me about yourself in a live chat over here. I know this live chat disappears when my videos online video streaming finishes, and I will be glad to hear from you right over here. Here, please write me and join my channel and subscribe. I need your help on that, and I hope I can help you too somehow. Please, you can send me your links for your websites. I will look at it and tell you what I think, or don't tell you what I think, or tell you in private what I think about it, if you want to know or have somebody else's opinion on it. Or any other question, if you have any other book for me to read, let me know. I will find it and read it to you. And I'm also having my tea over here in a nice Starbucks coffee cup that I like. Right here, it's big. And I like a little bit flavored tea with chamomile or mint. It's so good. It's been a rainy day, and I also got this Spud dessert. I like it. It gives a little taste. Let me see. Right here. There's some coconut all over it. Look at that. Isn't that great? I think it looks great. I didn't have it for a while. Well, thank you for joining me. And I hope you can have also some nice drink or beverage with you. Oh, look at that. All this crumbs goes right on me, right here. So I'm going to put it over here a little bit. And I'll read you this book. Just one chapter. I think it will take 5 minutes. Let's see how much it will take. Getting started. So, can you see me? Can you hear me? Well, if you can or cannot, let me know, because my live stream health shows orange, not green now. But still. It's a shadow also I can see on myself. Okay. Getting started. Oh, what are they going to tell us? I started hustling at an early age. I was working regularly on a 6-day-a-week basis at 12 years old. I worked at the market, making deliveries, cutting meat, cleaning up, anything for $6 a week. I had to work if I wanted any money. Everyone does. If you want money, you have to work. My family had been well-to-do, but the business went to hell during the Depression. It happens. At Christmas time, I'd go out into the woods to cut down birch trees. Needless to say, unbeknownst to the owners, from which I would make Yule logs. Yule logs. Well, I don't really know what a Yule logs are, but I'll check it later. Putting candles on them and selling them door to door. I also went to a supplier and bought Christmas corsages at 18 cents each and mistletoe by the box at a cheap rate because the berries were falling off. I'd get cellophane bags, get plastic bags they call them now, very thin. Drop a sprig of mistletoe into each bag, throw in some loose berries so it all looked like one piece, and then sell the mistletoe to people on the basis that this way, cased in cellophane, the berries wouldn't stain the rug or poison the kids or the dog. I took stuff that would ordinarily be thrown away and sold it at a premium. Smart kid. Okay. My best friend and I would rent a store right across the street from a big elementary school, and we'd hire kids on consignment to sell the corsages and the mistletoe door to door. We'd have as many as 400 kids on any given day fanned out across the whole section of the city. We made money on everything they sold. It got so that people used to tack a piece of mistletoe onto the door to keep the kids away, as a sign that they had already bought the stuff. Then we'd move on to the next school. We made more money at Christmas than most youngsters made all year long. Okay, now important considerations. Two types of business person. Let's have a little tea because the Idaho spud potato dessert gets stuck in my mouth. So good. I like it warm. Some people like it cold with ice, with tea. And it's refreshing for me. The warm one is refreshing. Let's see. Two types of business person. Are you a type 1 business person or a type 2? Type 1 is the sort of person who starts a business from scratch. And we're reading the book In Business for Yourself by Bruce Williams. Chapter 2, Getting Started. So type 1 is the sort of person who starts a business from scratch. He sees a vacuum and rushes to fill it. He is an original. The prototype of this sort was Juan Trippe, who founded Pan American Airlines in the 1920s. Well, if sometimes I stumble, this is because I'm reading this book first time. And thank you for listening to me and writing me some messages over there, if you're writing it. Okay, let's see. Juan Trippe, who founded Pan American Airlines in the 1920s, flying tourists to Cuba and establishing the first regularly scheduled passenger air service. Often, when a company gets bigger and bigger, the type 1 business person may lose control of it. And Trippe did with Pan Am and Steve Jobs with Apple computers. Type 2 is a bean counter. The detail-oriented sort. He is the manager, carries a table of organization in his head, and is the first person to sense that one of the company's divisions need an additional unit. So, are you type 1 or type 2? From scratch or bean counter? Detail-oriented sort. Who are you? Can you decide it for yourself, by yourself? Let me know. I will be glad to know. He is growth-oriented. He would probably be a complete loss, however, at trying to start an enterprise from nothing because he needs the material, the charts and figures to work with. The type 2 sort always heads for the mail first thing and sorts it out by category. The type 1 person shovels the mail in the bag and promises to go through it next week. Type 1, however, can take the same bag into the bank with him and walk out with a bag full of money. He's probably a salesman by temperament. Temperament. That's a word. Probably French, donc. Huh? Although not always by practice or profession. I'm a startup sort myself, not an expander. Business because I tend eventually to become bored with them, have a way of outgrowing me. So business because I tend eventually to become bored with them, have a way to outgrowing me. The business can outgrow you. I didn't know that you can outgrow the business. Okay. It's rare that a person combines the qualities of type 1 and type 2. Are you the sort of person who ought to build a new enterprise, or the sort who should take over an existing enterprise? There ought to be litmus paper you would lick to find out. If it turns pink, you go one way. If it turns blue, the other. In the absence of such a test, it's important that you ask yourself some questions about which type you are. Are you more detail-oriented? Are you more security-oriented? You are probably a type 2. Can you cope with not having some money come in every week? If you can't, you're a type 2 personality. Do you bore easily? You are probably a type 1. Bored easily, type 1 means you always need something new, so you have to create something new from scratch. Okay. The type 2 person keeps regular hours. The type 1 person is liable to be found at the hours at 3 a.m. It's also possible he may be found in bed at 10 a.m. The type 1 person is more erratic, more likely to do things when it strikes him. Type 1 doesn't manage time as well as type 2 because type 1 probably doesn't think in terms of time. Always creates instead of thinking about the time. Type 2 individuals can do extremely well in their own businesses, but they probably ought to take over an existing business rather than start a new one. A type 2 person may not be able to handle days during which not a single customer walks through the door. Well, that was interesting. Two types of business person. I never tried to categorize people like that in two categories of business people. Yes, there are people who I knew there are people who can manage time very well. I knew there are people who can create and start businesses, but there are two types of business person, exactly this and that can put together and be analyzed. That is interesting to me. Well, the next part is renting versus owning. and I dealt with it before. That is very interesting. I would love to read what he has to tell about it in the book "In Business to Yourself" by Bruce Williams, and read it to you. And I hope you can be interested in it too and learn more about it, renting versus own. But that's for next time. Whenever next time comes, it can come in 5 minutes, it can come next day. But for sure, if you like me to schedule some reading, I would love to do it for you. Just let me know and I will do it. Otherwise, I'm doing it the way I feel it. And thank you very much for coming here, listening to me, watching me, reading me, and reading with me too. It was nice. Please subscribe to my page. I need your help on that. And I hope I help you too to spend your time with quality thoughts. With quality thoughts. And remember, mind is a powerful thing. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Have fun. If you're having holidays, have good holidays. I'm trying to turn it off and stop streaming. Okay, here it is.